Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So we've got some stuff to cover here. Mostly I'm just doing this because there really hasn't been that much. There's been a few little bits and pieces that I just need to kind of get out there, and it's been a while since the last video. So let's go through this. So first of all, on this week's Braving the Elements podcast, of course, the official Avatar podcast, they are just getting on to the point where they're starting Legend of Korra Book 2. Now, as usual, they start every season by having a Mike and Brian kind of discussion episode interview. And obviously, like, it's an interesting enough discussion if you want to hear their thoughts on some of the kind of preview stuff ahead of Book 2. It's interesting just by itself. But the only thing on the whole podcast that alludes to stuff coming in the future is towards the end of their discussion, when they're discussing the Southern and Northern Water Tribes, of course, referencing that arc with Unalaq and Tonraq, of course, from Korra Book 2. Brian says at the end of it, I'll give some more context in just a second, we might be diving deeper into that now in stuff we are working on. So, is he specifically referring to the Southern and Northern Water Tribes, or what? More specifically, Brian said this like immediately after Dante Bosco on the podcast was kind of highlighting that, yeah, the Water Tribes are sort of unique within the kind of Avatar world because they're two separate tribes, obviously North and South Pole, and they're a little bit kind of, disconnected in that way. With the air nomads, and their four temples, it makes sense to a certain degree, but of the other nations where you usually consider them to be connected, you have these two nations that are kind of separate, but they've always been kind of fundamentally linked, and of course Book 2 kind of deals with that. Two but one, and this is what Brian says this quote kind of in response to. So it seems to be this idea either that it's directly about that unique dynamic of the Southern and Northern Water Tribes, of like a nation but on opposite sides of the world, and sort of maybe the history of the two tribes, or it's more just referring to nations in general that are kind of more split up like that, as in you could maybe make an argument like, is this maybe referring a little bit to Seven Havens with regards to the Haven cities and the idea that, well, these are people who come from the other nations and they live in these Haven cities, so each of the Haven cities must be kind of mixed nation to a certain degree. That might be one way to view it. But, of course, what we just learned about somewhat recently was the kind of, casting call information about this Red Thunder codenamed series about, like, it seems like about a water avatar. Now, that doesn't really tell us too much about when it is or isn't set, but it seems to maybe imply that the one thing you can maybe highlight in terms of where it might be set is just this little detail on Meebs, the second character. He's the politics guy, which would make sense more for like someone in the Northern Water Tribe, but also the stuffy traditional environment is kind of typically how the Northern Water Tribe is kind of characterized. And if that's the case, that would probably be in the past, just because there's going to have to be a lot of work that they do to get from Seven Havens a few avatars later to, I guess, suddenly the world is back to normal. We have to wait and see how that happens. So it's probably more realistic that this is going more into the past. Whether that be some of the speculation about this being an Avatar Karuk series, which could dive into North versus South, or if we go way back, probably the more interesting dynamic that maybe ties into the discussion they were having a little bit more is, why is the Water Tribe like this? Why is it divided like that? And we know we've had that kind of really older lore for quite a while now about the idea that the Northern Tribe was the kind of original tribe, and the Southern Tribe kind of split off from that in the past. We haven't really had much discussion about that at all. That might be a way to kind of bring this into the spotlight. But then there is also the Ice Wars game, where the Water Tribe is the villain, and that might also be what he's referring to. I think the Red Thunder connection maybe is kind of nice, because it's probably most likely to be the project that sort of Mike and Brian are like working on right now. Whereas I think everything they said about the video game is sort of like, we did the pre kind of story kind of creation process a while ago. We're just waiting to see how the development on that game goes. That seems to be where that's at. And then obviously the more recent shows were obviously like the writing on them was done like a couple of years back. So wait, when they say we're working on, is it just it's a show that will come out in the future, or is it actually like one that's in kind of that kind of development process, which the one that makes the most sense probably is Red Thunder and fits the discussion that they're having the most. So not much to say here, but it's like, hey, the timing on this comment with some of the other news we had was kind of interesting to a certain degree, but we'll move on. Next, this is a Magic the Gathering Avatar product that's going to be coming out. It's from Beetle and Grimm, who of course are doing the Voyage of the Unity RPG book. They're going to have a token set for Magic the Gathering Avatar. We don't have a picture of it yet because it's still early-ish, but obviously the idea is it's going to be releasing in or around the release of the set at some point in November. The description that we have for it says that what it is, it's going to be a metal life counter that goes from 1 to 40. It's going to be 2.5 inch diameter, and it's going to be based on card art from the set. There's going to be 5 +1/+1 counters that also have +5/+5 on the other side, and these are going to be designed after White Lotus Pai Sho tiles. There will be 5 spin down dice with bending symbols. You'll get a D20, 2 D10s, and 2 D6s. So that's cool. There's going to be 7 aluminium token cards with full art from the set, and 1 tin that it all comes in for $30. So as ever with these things, like a lot of places make these things, it's a quite expensive thing for what it is, considering like, okay, it's a couple of dice, counters and stuff like that, and then like 7 metal cards, if that even means anything to you. It's something there that like we'll have to wait and see if anyone else does anything. We are expecting, I think, Ultra Pro to do some Avatar, like the typical lineup that they have. Though interestingly, there was news just from a few days ago that the Spider-Man Ultra Pro stuff, which was like put up on distributor websites that we never saw pictures of it, was confirmed to all be cancelled. Now, admittedly, the Spider-Man set is in a bit of a weird situation where that seems to be more about the Marvel license with Magic, more so than just Universes Beyond sets in general. Because again, Final Fantasy had a full release and had the whole Ultra Pro lineup. So I think Avatar will be probably much the same. I can't see it having the same problem overall. So just something to keep an eye out for. Mostly I think when we get pictures of this to see if it is actually something interesting and kind of worth your time. Especially if you don't have a lot of accessories like this for Magic, it might be worth trying to get. I'll highlight this, which is just that the Avatar game, Avatar Legends Realms Collide, has sort of finally confirmed one of the novel characters that's going to be coming to the game. Again, remember, well over a year ago, they confirmed pre-release that the game would have characters from the novels in it. As of right now, they don't have any of those actually in the game currently. And people have been asking for a very long time, hey, when is the first novel character going to come to the game? So after months of basically them being badgered about this, they finally confirmed that like a novel character kind of is on the way. Rangi, of course, from the Kyoshi era, Kyoshi's girlfriend, is coming to the game at some point. There will also be other novel characters, but they haven't named who exactly they are. This also doesn't really put Rangi on the kind of schedule yet in terms of like when exactly she's going to come out. Just that I guess after the next batch of maybe like 5-6 characters, she's probably coming up after that. I don't think this is really that much of a surprise, because you have to ask yourself, novel characters, who are the most obvious characters that they were going to do? Rangi was pretty much top of that list. Sure, you know, the younger versions of most of our avatars, fair enough, but after that, when you actually get into the unique era characters, you're immediately going for Rangi, Yoon, a lot of the characters that we already have in Avatar Generations, and continuing to get the rest of the Kyoshi cast, so we can hopefully get like official art, an official design for a character like Lao Ge, the rest of the Flying Opera Company, and so on. And then especially now that we have the Yang Chen novels, as well as the Roku novel, it would be cool to see some of those other characters get depicted in this game, like Malaya. I would really like to see Malaya be in this game at some point in the future, just to get what her official character design is. Kavik, just to see him actually like appear in something, because at least the Kyoshi stuff had a little bit of extra kind of character appearance because Avatar Generations did that first update. The other novels haven't really got that just yet. So that's the kind of exciting aspect of this, is that, okay, maybe the first couple of novel characters are maybe just going to be repeats of Avatar Generations, but it feels like inevitably, if the game is going to continue, they're going to have to start to do characters who will be kind of making their video game debuts here, potentially like first proper visuals for the character, that sort of thing. So they also confirmed this. They had the Cabbage Merchant's voice actor on a stream where, again, they kind of echoed that there would be novel characters. They announced some of the other characters that are coming soon as well, like Jinora's coming, Mako's coming, Wolf Armor Sokka's coming. I think that's what they kind of said. Nothing super fancy, because some of these characters are characters that like we'd seen from the early promo shots of the game that they're just reintroducing effectively. So there's that sort of thing. It's just, yeah, I think this game's just been in an unfortunate situation where I think a lot of people kind of just realized that, like, yeah, this game really isn't for me. Like, I think this game has a huge, like, tried it and absolutely fell off kind of situation. And they're not really, in my mind, doing a lot with their updates to try and get people back on board. In the sense that, like, the story mode, which I at least find a little bit interesting, I have no clue when the second stage of the story is going to be coming out. And then it's called Avatar Legends, but whenever Rangi, I guess, gets introduced into the game, is actually going to be the first time they properly make use of the whole Avatar Legends title of the game, because everything else in the game has been Avatar and Korra. You can make the excuse that, like, oh, they have some of the past avatars in there, but it's very clearly the past avatars as depicted in Avatar The Last Airbender, rather than having really, like, representatives from their respective era, really. So there's that. Next, just a quick kind of publishing thing. I don't think I covered this previously. I think I covered that this book existed previously in a video, but we now have the cover. So this is from Thunder Bay Press, who are also doing the Paint book, the Paint with Water book. This is the Color by Number book that they're going to be doing, and this one's coming out August 11th, 2026. So you can see they're adding this book in, and it also has a release date much later in the year, because again, remember, the Paint with Water book was delayed to, I believe, the same day as this as well. So Thunder Bay making a move to release their books more towards the end of next year. I'm guessing to coincide with the release of the movie, the build up to the movie, whereby August next year we'll definitely have a trailer, and there should be a lot of Avatar hype around the place, and so a book like this might do a little bit better in that regard. 92 pages is what this is going to have, and we'll see if there's any like particularly new art, or if it is just a collection of kind of slightly redrawn kind of promo images. Either way, it's something, another book that is actually releasing. Final thing, another video game thing here. This is just there's a Avatar Cross Stumble Guys collab coming out for this video game. Not too much to say about this one. It's just another one of these kind of gaming collabs, which is cool. I think they were a bit cooler a few years ago when we didn't really have all that much. Now we've had quite a few of these kind of collabs with other games. This seems to just be the basic, like, okay, the main characters are coming to this game. They're putting in a little bit of effort. Am I going to put the time in to play this game just for this update? I don't think so, unfortunately. But it's cool if you happen to be someone who plays Stumble Guys already, but I think a lot of us are in the position of, when are those proper Avatar video games coming out? We're going to get that eventually, and it feels like we're a little bit past, some of the kind of collaboration stuff, unless it's like super, super well done, like say the Fortnite one. I don't see any particular problem with this and how it's being done. It's just, yeah, I think I'm kind of past the point of like, oh, I'll try that game just for the Avatar update. When I'm kind of like, okay, it's Aang, Katara, Sokka, Toph, I get it. I don't need to play this game. But it's there if you are interested. So, gonna end the video there. Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing kind of too crazy going on here. But again, the whole point here of the channel is to keep you guys fully updated. So, let me know what your thoughts are on this. Do you have any thoughts on the little line, the little teaser from Brian on the Braving the Elements podcast? Do you think this is talking about Red Thunder? Is it about Ice Wars? Is it about Seven Havens? What do you think he was specifically referring to here? Let me know. And then, yeah, just some of these other stuff. Token set for Magic Avatar from Beetle and Grimm. Rangi, plus other novel characters are coming to Realms Collide. But are you still playing Realms Collide? That is the question. And then, yeah, color by number and stumble, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But otherwise, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.